7 feed crops that outproduce grass 5 times over. Slash your feed bill fast. Feed costs don't quietly eat into profits. They ambush them. Just one dry month or a weak pasture, and all of a sudden you're buying expensive supplements just to keep weight on your animals. But here's the shift most farmers never make. Grass isn't the gold standard. It's just the default. There are crops out there that outproduce it 5 times over, hang on to protein in the worst heat, and even rebuild your soil while feeding your animals. If you want practical systems like this that actually cut feed costs, consider subscribing to The Profitable Homestead so you don't miss what's next. Black locust changes the protein game. Black locust isn't just a tree. It's a protein factory anchored deep underground. Managed correctly, it produces foliage with 22 to 28% crude protein during peak grazing season, right when pasture quality collapses. That alone can replace a large portion of your protein supplements. What makes it really powerful is its root system. It pushes beyond 6 meters into the soil, pulling up calcium, potassium, and magnesium that shallow-rooted grasses never reach. Those nutrients cycle back through leaves, manure, and root turnover, gradually rebuilding your soil fertility. Plant black locust at a spacing of 2 to 3 meters between trees in rows. Once established, cut back to chest height every 2 to 3 years to stimulate regrowth. You can expect 4 to 6 feet of fresh browse per season. Goats and sheep will strip leaves directly, while cattle benefit from dropped fodder. Over time, you're producing feed, fertilizer, and durable wood from the same system. Jerusalem artichoke feeds animals without harvesting. Jerusalem artichoke turns your land into a self-harvesting feed system. It produces 5 to 7 tons of tubers per acre, even on average soils, and those tubers are packed with inulin, a slow-release carbohydrate ideal for livestock energy. Plant tubers at a spacing of 40 centimeters within rows and 75 centimeters between rows. Use about 2 to 3 tons of seed tubers per hectare, which comes out to roughly 200 to 300 grams per square meter. Once planted, the system multiplies itself. Each plant produces multiple new tubers, meaning no replanting. Pigs do the harvesting for you. They root out tubers directly, eliminating labor and fuel costs. Above ground, the foliage contains 12 to 15% protein until frost, which extends your grazing window. Meanwhile, the roots break up compacted soil layers, improving structure for future crops. Comfrey delivers relentless regrowth. Comfrey is one of the most efficient biomass producers you can grow. On fertile soil, it produces 15 to 20 tons of green matter per acre annually, with 18 to 30% crude protein in young leaves. Plant root cuttings 60 centimeters apart in all directions, which is roughly 3 plants per square meter. Once established, it requires no replanting. Cut every 21 to 28 days during the growing season, and it comes back just as strong. Its roots go deeper than 3 meters, accessing water and minerals unavailable to pasture grasses. This allows it to keep producing even during drought. Feed it fresh to poultry, pigs, goats, and cattle as a high-protein supplement. It's not just feed, it's a mineral pump that upgrades everything else in your system. Sorghum Sudan dominates summer production. When heat shuts down your pasture, Sorghum Sudan takes over. This hybrid produces between 12 and 20 tons of dry matter per acre in a good season, with protein levels ranging from 14 to 18%, so at a rate of 25 to 35 kilograms per hectare, which is about 2.5 to 3.5 grams per square meter. Plant when soil temperatures are consistently above 18 degrees Celsius. Under warm conditions, it really just explodes with growth. Graze or cut when plants reach 60 centimeters, but never below 30 centimeters to avoid prussic acid risks. Allow 3 to 4 weeks for regrowth. This crop thrives on heat and uses significantly less water than corn silage per ton produced. It fills the exact gap when your system is under the most pressure. Chicory improves both feed and animal health. It brings more than just yield. It brings function, really. producing between 3 and 6 tons of dry matter per acre. With protein levels of 15 to 22%, it competes directly with traditional forages. You'll want to sow at 5 kilograms per hectare, or about 0.5 grams per square meter, ideally mixed right into your pasture systems. Its taproot dives 1.5 to 2 meters deep, pulling minerals up into the forage. But more importantly, it contains natural compounds that reduce internal parasite loads in livestock. This means fewer treatments and healthier animals over time. Rotate grazing every 3 to 5 weeks to maintain quality, and plan to re-establish every 3 to 4 years as productivity declines. Cowpea fixes nitrogen while feeding livestock. It's a summer annual that feeds animals and builds soil at the same time. Cowpea produces 2 to 4 tons of dry matter per acre, with protein levels between 15 and 25%. Plant at a rate of 20 to 30 kilograms per hectare, or about 2 to 3 grams per square meter. It establishes quickly, often ready for grazing within 50 to 60 days. What really sets it apart is nitrogen fixation. It adds 100 to 200 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare back into the soil, reducing your fertilizer costs. Use it as a protein bridge during summer when grasses decline. Livestock consume the entire plant, leaves, stems, and pods, making it highly efficient. Tree hay systems create long-term feed security. Using trees like mulberry, willow, and poplar, you get a stable, high-protein feed source year after year. Mulberry leaves contain 18 to 28% protein, while willow and poplar range between 12 and 20%. Plant your trees at a spacing of 1 to 1.5 meters within rows and 3 to 4 meters between rows. Manage them through coppicing every 1 to 3 years, which stimulates dense regrowth and increases leaf production over time. Cut branches and air dry them to produce what's called tree hay. Unlike baled hay, it resists mold and stores well for months. Goats, sheep, and cattle consume the leaves easily, while pigs benefit from the fallen fruit and foliage. These systems don't just produce feed, they create resilience through drought, heat, and seasonal gaps. Designing a system that outperforms grass, that's the real advantage, you know. It comes when you stop treating these crops as backups and start assigning them roles. Comfrey and black locust cover protein gaps. Sorghum Sudan delivers bulk during heat. Jerusalem artichoke finishes animals with minimal input. Cowpea rebuilds soil while feeding livestock. Tree hay secures winter reserves. Instead of forcing grass to do everything, you divide the workload. Protein from deep-rooted perennials, energy from high-yield annuals, minerals from species that mine the subsoil. Start with just one crop. Identify the month your system struggles most, the moment your feed costs spike or animal condition drops. Plant the crop that solves that exact problem. Then build from there. That's how feed bills shrink and resilience grows. If you found this useful, go ahead and subscribe to The Profitable Homestead and share this with someone who needs to cut their feed costs. Because, honestly, the right crop in the right season changes everything.